Hey guys, welcome to another episode of FatherStack's Rambling Reviews, and this is the second of my Christmas reviews, and today's film is going to be Christmas Evil. Now, I'll talk a little bit about the plot, then I'll talk about little facts, and then my opinion as usual. So, it starts off with two brothers, Harry and Phil, and they're sitting on the steps in their house. They're about 6, and I think Phil's about 6, and Harry's probably 7, 8. I forget the. It doesn't mention their ages, but yeah, they're pretty young, and they're sitting on the stairs of their house with their mum, and they're looking at the chimney and see Santa coming down, and Santa starts eating the treats they've left and putting, their presents out and filling their stockings and that, and they go up to bed. The two kids go up to bed, and they're kind of arguing. The brother Phil says how it was their dad, and the other brother Harry is in kind of denial. He says no. He says it was the real Santa, and Harry ends up getting out of bed and going downstairs, and then he sees Santa, his dad, kind of starting to have sex with the mum. He's just kind of, pulling at her stockings and kind of stuff, kind of almost like he's start eating it out, but you don't see anything, and he gets pretty traumatised by it. So he goes up to the attic and he finds a snow globe and smashes it on the ground in anger, and then he ends up cutting his hand with it. And then it flashes forward to him as a grown man, and he's completely obsessed with Christmas. That's all through the film. He's humming all these. Dropping my notes. All the way through the film, he's humming Christmas songs, and his whole house is decorated. He works in a toy factory making Christmas toys. He's obsessed. It's all he seems to think about. I don't know if he's like this all year round, but he seems to be all he can do is think about Christmas. He spies on the neighbourhood kids, finding out which ones are naughty and which ones are nice. One thing I liked about the scene, as creepy as it is would not be allowed nowadays, is that when he's looking through the binoculars, it's actually shot as you would see through binoculars. You don't get that thing as you see in many movies. You actually see, just like a close-up as you would as if you're looking through binoculars. You don't see that. You just see close up, and I like that. He's spying on the kids, and he sees which ones are naughty and which ones are nice. So he's looking through all the windows, and he says some of the names. He says, you're taking out the trash. What a nice thing to do. He sees the next little girl. He says, playing with our dolls. You're such a sweetheart. And he looks through the third window. He sees a kid called Moss Garcia. He sees him looking at porn mags and cutting out like pin-ups. He's like, yeah, he's on the naughty list. He actually writes. He's got 2 books. The book of good girls and boys, and the group of bad girls and boys. He currently gets to use a modern word. He gets triggered at this nasty little kid, and he writes his crimes in the bad book. And I'll actually read out what he's written in the book towards the end of the review. As I said, he works at a toy factory. And his colleagues, his workmates, they kind of take the piss out of him. They kind of laugh at him for kind of really liking his job. He says he really likes working with the toys. He's trying to encourage his workmates to make the best toys possible. And one of the guys he works with kind of takes advantage of this and says, look, he says, I need to do stuff. He says, can you cover my shift since you really like working with the toys? And he's like, he says, okay. He says he ends up doing it, and at the end of his shift, he walks past a pub, and he sees the guy drinking. He says, ha ha ha. The time when it was pretty spot on, he goes, ha, I actually got that stupid fool to cover my shift. And you see the anger in his face. You also see the anger in his face when he says, when the guy that actually phoned him and said, asked him to fill in for him to cover his shift. He he says that Christmas kind of annoys him and he just wants it over and done with. Harry's face just kind of gets really angry. When he finds his workmate had been drinking, he gets really angry and rushes home. And you see all the presents and that around his house. And he picks up this little toy man and he starts humming "Santa Claus is coming to town," and he's got this little toy man. He's swaying back and forward. He's humming this song, and as he's humming it, he gets more aggressive. Humming it gets faster, and he ends up snapping his toy in half in anger. Harry's brother, Phil, I think it was Phil. His wife is asking why Harry isn't invited to dinner. This is kind of obviously custom, you know, the family will get together. Harry's not married, doesn't have kids, whereas his brother Phil, he has kids, he's got a wife. The wife seems to like Harry, whereas the brother doesn't. He says he's kind of a simpleton. He's way too emotional. He makes too many screw ups. And he makes too many mistakes, and he's always got to amend for the mistakes. And he doesn't get on with his brother at all. Harry's brother ends up, while his two kids are watching TV, they're watching a parade on TV. Harry's brother starts kissing and kind of cuddling his wife, and it kind of keeps on switching over to the two kids. I was wondering if that kind of they were trying to hint at was the same thing going to happen with his kids, you know, because he noticed they witnessed Harry noticed his mum and dad kind of kissing and cuddling and kind of went berserk. So it's the same thing going to happen in the future with this. I don't know, maybe that was just hinted at. Yeah, Harry ends up obsessing over this Christmas parade. I mean, he's on the phone to his brother saying he's going to come around because his brother kind of feels forced to ask him to come over by his wife, and he's on the phone, and all he can do is watch this parade rather than talk to his brother, and he turns the volume right up to the point where he tells his kids to turn off the TV. It's actually coming from his TV because they're both watching the same thing. After watching this parade and seeing the Santa in the parade, he realises that he wants to be Santa, and he glues a beard to himself to the point where he pulls it and it doesn't come off. He stitches together a whole suit, and he practices his laugh. It's not a ho 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 laugh. It's just he just practices his Merry Christmas. He practices laughing and everything, and he really obsesses over becoming Santa and wanting to make the good kids, life is better. Kind of wants to reward them, as Santa would. He goes to like a Christmas do, like a Christmas kind of works night out with his colleagues, and they kind of make fun of him as usual. He doesn't like that, and he ends up stealing toys from the factory he works at in order to deliver to kind of needy kids, not necessarily even needy kids, but these it's kids that are in a hospital, so kind of ill kids and stuff. After delivering the toys to the kids at the hospital, he gets kind of harassed by the security guard. Actually, this is just before he goes into the hospital. Just before he goes in, a really old skinny security guard says, "What the fuck are you doing here?" He says, he's got to test the Santa. He's like, "I'm here to deliver some gifts," and the guy goes to get a knife or a gun as if to stab him, but he gets into the hospital and he gives the kids some presents. He gets picked on by some people outside a church, and this is about 50 minutes into the film. Spoilers alert here. Spoiler from here on. I'll put a little timestamp usually on the video when I've finished spoiling stuff, right? But that'll be when it's coming to my final say and stuff. So from here, a couple of people are kind of harassing him outside the church, and he really annoying him. So he he's all from here on to the end of the film, he's dressed as the Santa. He doesn't get out of that costume because pretty much it's glued to him. So he finds a toy, like a little toy soldier with a little sword poking out, and he punches it into the guy's eye, and he gets a toy axe and axes somebody's head in. So he kills a couple of people there. People go ballistic, and the police are immediately onto the case. He ends up painting a sleigh onto the. He's got this white van, and he ends up painting like a Santa's sleigh on the sides of his van, like the sides of the sleigh, to kind of resemble Santa's sleigh. He gets invited to what's called a Family and Friends Association. That's the actual name of the building. It's got the sign outside, Family and Friends Association. And he has a great time there. He starts singing along, and he's dancing, and he's having a great time with the adults and with the kids. And then he ends up giving this speech. He says, if you're a good boy and a good girl, he says you'll get rewarded. He says, but if you're bad, he says, expect terrible things. And he says it in such a sinister manner. Everybody's kind of shocked until he bursts out laughing, kind of half insinuating it's a joke. So everybody kind of joins in with him laughing, but he's kind of serious. He just doesn't want kind of suspicion to rise on him. But yeah, he's pretty serious about that. That's a brilliant scene. I absolutely love that. He goes to one of his workmates' houses, and because he hates the way these people have been treating him, and he tries to go down the chimney, but he gets stuck. He gets stuck in the chimney. As soon as he gets out, he goes through the window, and he creeps through the house, and he goes into these workmates. He goes into their bedroom, and he wakes the guy up, and then he ends up smothering him with these bag of presents. And as he's smothering him, the wife's fast asleep. As he's smothering him, just before he loses consciousness, he grabs a Christmas decoration, like one of those stars, like those plastic Christmas stars off the tree that's right beside the bed, and slashes the guy's throat with it. And then that wakes up the wife, who starts screaming, and he runs out the house. Harry's brother's wondering why he isn't visiting. He's like, this is awful late. He says he should be here by now. The wife is wondering why he resents him so much. And he says it's because he's needy, because he's always had to look after him. He's the younger brother, he says, and he should be able to look after himself, and he's always been kind of mentally deranged. He says he should be able to look after himself. The police are wary of anyone that's dressed up as Santa. They even have a line-up of people trying to find out which one describes the person that's killed these people outside the church. So they'll find out it's none of the people they've picked, obviously, because Harry's still on the run. And they find out from someone that it's that they're looking for a Santa that has a dirty suit, a dirty fur. Because he's just been... I can't remember why he was dirty. Probably from the chimney. No, that was before that. I don't know. But anyway, his suit's all dirty. I might have missed why he got dirty. He ends up wandering around with all his presents, and some kids run up to him. Whoa, Santa, Santa! And then the parents realise he's got dark fur. And he goes. One of the dads gets his flick knife out, and he says, I'm going to kill you. He says, get away from my kids, kind of thing. The parents are terrified. They're angry. They just want this guy away from their kids. So he gives them all presents. Like I said, and they have the dad and the Santa end up having a little struggle, and the dad drops a knife, and one of the little girls actually picks up the knife. I thought he's going to stab the dad, but he ended up just giving the knife to the Santa, and to Harry the Santa, and he threatens him. He actually threatens him this time, and then he just runs away. They all end up getting tortures, and chasing him down the street like a lynching mob, like it's a witch hunt. then Harry ends up hiding from them and starts crying. He's crying his heart out that these people are so angry at him. He's chased through the street. He gets in his van and he visits his brother, who says, I knew you were the killer Santa. He says, I know you're fucked up in the head. He says, why have you done this? He's so angry at him that he chokes him. He starts choking him with all his might until he loses consciousness. And he says the reason he finds out the reason he's doing this is because the brother says that he didn't believe in Santa and that he thought that he knew it was the dad the whole time. He says, what, you're doing all this because of something I said when I was 6? I was 6 years old and I said some, off the cuff statement. You're doing all this, you're killing people and you're harassing people. So he ends up choking him. And when he loses consciousness, he drags him to the van and he puts him inside the van and he closes the door. And just as Phil the brother's kind of regretting what he's done, he's nearly killed his brother. Has he killed him? He doesn't seem to check his pulse. I think he just seems he might have killed him. Harry wakes up and ends up punching his brother in the face. So he drives his van away, and he's the lynch mob are after him. They're waving their torches. He drives through them, and then we got onto the end. Now the end is its own thing. It's one of these things that even if you've not seen the film, you probably know the ending of it. It's probably one of these endings that you'll either love or you'll hate. You'll see it in maybe a couple of different ways. But as he drives through the mob, he drives off a bridge. And as he's driving off the bridge, it's saying the end of that, the Christmas poem, 'twas the night before Christmas. And it says, to all, good night. And he's saying the last line. I can't remember it off my top of my head. But as the van's flying off the cliff, off the edge of the bridge, it just keeps on flying as if he's actually Santa. And some people, I think, would either see it as, that's the way he's actually Santa and that's actually his van flying, or as I tend to think, it's all, the whole film is from his point of view. It's just he thinks he's Santa. He is Santa in his opinion, and as he's maybe driving to his death before the van crashes, he just views himself as being in the sleigh and it flying. So it's in his head that he's actually Santa and actually flying. That it's not actually happening in reality, as maybe some people might see it. But yeah, that's the end of the film. I'll go through some of my facts and that I jotted down. It's directed by Lewis Jackson. And he's only done 2 other films apart from this. He done one in 1970 called The Deviates, which I can find nothing about, and another one called The Transformation, A Sandwich of Nightmares from 1974. And all I can find on this, it says Novice Baxter in love with exotic singer Mitchell. That's Mitchelle. That's not me mispronouncing it. Mitchell, who turns out to be a high priestess of a cult he's investigating. The fictional part of the film is bookended with behind the scenes footage of the production. Now it sounds like a film I do kind of want to see. It's probably lost, but the fact that it is bookended with behind the scenes footage probably means it either wasn't long enough or wasn't any good. It was made in 1980. It's Brandon Maggart is the guy that plays Harry. There's a couple other cameos I found. There's a guy called Mark Margolis in it, and he's in it for like 20 seconds. I noticed him right away. If you've seen Breaking Bad, he's the old man Theo that's in the wheelchair. He's Mr. Chicken Dance in Ace Ventura, the landlord. He was also the guy Shadow in Scarface. He's the guy when Al Pacino's driving in the van with him and he blows him up. No, when he's got the bomb and he shits him through the head. He's one of these old guys. I don't know how old he is, but he's an old man in everything he's in. You'll know his face, especially if you've seen Breaking Bad. You'll know who he is. There's a guy called Raymond J. Barry. He's in it. He's one of the detectives, and I recognise him from Falling Down. He's what's his name? Prendergast's boss in it. Robert. What's his name? Who played Prendergast? I'm losing my head here. I see his face. Anyway, it's his boss, the guy who says, I don't like a guy that doesn't curse. Not a fuck or a shit in all your career. He goes, real men curse. He's that guy. He was also in he's also in Flubber. He's one of the bad guys in Flubber. He was in Training Day. He's the dad in Born on the 4th of July. Who else is he? Yeah, the brother, Phil, he's played by Jeffrey DeMunn. He's in every Frank Darabont film. He's the lawyer that's in he's the lawyer at the start of Shawshank Redemption. He's in Green Mile. He's in The Mist. You know this guy. He's obviously a lot younger than this. You'll see him as kind of an older version, but he's a really good character actor. I really like him. I forgot. Yeah, so that's just little cameos in that I've seen. Yeah, when I was mentioning the book of Good and Bad, yeah, one of the characters is Mos Garcia. You don't see much of him, but it's just Harry hates this kid. He's obviously the little bastard of the block, and he's got when he's got his name in the book of bad girls or boys. This is the crimes he's got on it. Throws rocks at dogs, jaywalks, which I didn't know what jaywalking was. I had to ask someone what that meant. Wrote graffiti, smokes cigarettes, litters the street, crosses against the light. I don't know what that means. Either that or I couldn't read the writing properly. Uses profane language, picks his nose, pulls Sally's hair, uses profane language, which is written twice. That wasn't just me, I double checked it. It's written twice. Gets up late every day, kicks garbage cans. Then when he actually sees them looking at the porn mags, and there's even a part where he's asking everybody what they want. He says a subscription to Penthouse magazine, and that gets him angry. The other two he writes in it is impure thoughts and negative body hygiene, which he actually says out loud as he's going to see him outside the house. He kind of spies on him in one scene and covers mud in his face. He covers mud in his face and he presses himself against his house. I don't know why he does that, but then after that, his mum says she's going to a night out with him, and he says, "I don't want to go. I just want to play with toys and watch TV." And she kind of hits him. And that woman is played by, I forget her name, but she was in Home Improvement, so she's another kind of person that's in this film. What was her name? Because I remember looking it up. I just forgot to write it down. She is Patricia Richardson. She's Moss's mother. So I'll go to my pros and cons about this film. Cons. I wish there was a little bit more development with the police. I wish there was more into their investigation of this film. But apart from that, they weren't really that needed. They're honestly in it for about 2.5 minutes. But I wish there was a wee bit more with them. Some people might find the pacing's a little bit off. It's quite a slow film. But it didn't really bother me too much. Those are the only kind of cons I can think of. The pros, the acting in this film is excellent, especially Brandon Maggart. I think it's Maggart or Maggart. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name wrong. I apologise, but I think it's Maggart, Maggart. He's excellent in this film. He puts everything into this film. It's part of the A.K.A. collection's slasher collection. This is number 42. I've got quite a few of the slasher collection. I actually pre-ordered this and arrived a few days ago on its release. It's 94 minutes long, but this is It's not much of a slasher film. Only like 3 people die in it. It's more of a character study. It spends the first 50 odd minutes building up the character of Harry, you know, why he's so obsessed with Christmas. It's got more in common with Taxi Driver and more recently The Joker than it does, you know, Friday the 13th or, you know, Halloween. Because it's all about him. And I love that artwork. That's awesome. It's got there's the van, it's the sleigh in the top right corner there. There's the book just below that. And there's him with the flick knife. Which you don't actually see. I don't think you actually see him holding a flick knife. But yeah, I really like that artwork. The violence in this is quite minimal. There's when the violence does happen, again, like with the Joker, it is quite shocking when it happens, but it only happens like twice in the film. But it's all about his mental state. It's all about how he kind of gradually goes insane. The acting in this film's great. I actually really like the pacing in this film. I like the fact that it takes its time to get to know Harry. It's not just like, oh yeah, he's a killer Santa, kill people. This isn't Silent Night, Deadly Night, if that's what you're expecting. It's a completely different film. I can see why it's compared to that because it's about a killer Santa. Completely different film. Although I do like Silent Night, Deadly Night. I think it's a great slasher film. That's a slasher film. This isn't. It's a completely different film. I think when it was released, it was an 18. But as you can see now, it's a 15. For, what does it say? Focus on that. Concerning strong violence. But yeah, a couple of scenes of violence in it. I don't think there's even any swearing in it. There's no sex in it. There's a couple of violent scenes in it. It's got a really good Christmassy feeling about it. That's another thing. I mean, it isn't just, you know, oh, it's a Santa, he's killing people. No, this actually feels like a genuine Christmas film. I really love the atmosphere in it. All the way through this film, he's humming Christmas songs. He adores Christmas. He just feels the need to punish the bad people. I really like this film. I think it's really underrated. I very seldom hear people talk about it. Most people will kind of put Silent Night, Deadly Night over this. I kind of prefer this. I like the way it takes its time and tells its story. This has a booklet in it which I've read through, and it's, instead of discussing the film, it goes through actual underrated Christmas films. And out of the 10 films in this book, I've only seen one of them, which is Jack Frost. So number 1 is Jack Frost. Number 2 is Silent Night, Bloody Night, which I've not seen. I've seen Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is from 1972. Dead End, which I've never even heard of. Number 4 is Don't Open Till Christmas, which I've heard of but not seen. Silent Night, Deadly Night 4, which I don't know if that's any good. I've only seen the first 2. Anna and the Apocalypse, which I've seen trailers of, and to be honest, I don't like the look of it. I'm not the biggest lover of musicals, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem like my kind of thing. One of my worst films of all time is a musical. I do like, there are some good ones, you know, you've got your Rocky Horror Picture Show, you've got your, Wizard of Oz. There are some great musicals out there, it's just not my go-to genre. To All a Good Night, which I believe is directed by David Hess, who was the rapist in Last House on the Left, and he played a lot of sleazy characters, and he died recently. He died about 5 years ago. Alien Raiders, which I've never heard of. Can you see that there? Alien Raiders. Secret Santa is number 9. Again, I've never heard of that. That one's from 2018, so that's quite a recent one. And I think the last one in here, oh no, there's quite a few in here. Bloodbeat, which I've never heard of. Bloodbeat, which is from 1983. Elves, which I've heard of. I've seen a Red Letter Media do a video on that. And the last one in here, number 12, 12 Days of Christmas, yeah. Xmas Tale, which again, I've never heard of, which is from 2005. So that's some fun for me to check out. for the next couple of years. I'm definitely going to check these films out. I will definitely be reviewing them, probably next year if I've got more time. So, on to my review of this film. I would give this an 8 out of 10. As I give it an IMDb. Yeah, I really like this film. I think it's very underrated. I think more people should see it. If you want a kind of more like a film that, you know, it's not an action film. I wouldn't even say it's a horror film. It's almost like a drama, kind of thriller. That it's all about, you know, this character, all about this kind of crazy man who becomes even crazier as he's witnessing people do bad things. Almost, you know, he loves the good things about Christmas, and he's willing to treat the good people really well. And that's the thing about Harry, is that he's a good character. He's a likeable character. I like Harry. You kind of almost want to give him a hug. He comes across as a genuinely nice guy. You see him at the party when he's dancing with people. He's kind of a good guy. He does bad things, and you see him go crazier, you know, as he wants to punish the bad people, you know. No wonk Bacall, you'll get stabbed in the eye. Also, the original title was supposed to be You Better Watch Out, which I think's a better title for this film. I think it suits it a lot better. Christmas Evil makes it seem like it's going to be a slasher film, which it was obviously the retitling of. But I think You Better Watch Out has a more sinister edge to it. I think it suits kind of the tone of the film a lot better. And yeah, that's just my preference. I think it's also the director's preference. Yeah, so I really recommend this. I should be back maybe tomorrow, or maybe just after Christmas with a new review. I've got 3 in mind. Hopefully get them out by the end of the month. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back as soon as I can, guys. Let me know what you think about the film. Do you think it's overrated? Do you think it's underrated like I do? Do you hate it? Do you love it? What films do you want me to review next year? You know, let me know in the comments, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye. Oh, and Merry Christmas.